Well, howdy, y'all. Waking up early on a Saturday, West Coast time. It's just about to be 9 o'clock. Got my coffee down real quick, and we're going to be getting into the game real soon. Yeah, just doing a little outreach to try to let everybody know. I think some of the North American viewers and just generally people aren't super aware we got a game so early today. It was a little bit surprising because today we're going to be bringing you a week 4 game. So somehow with the way that our scheduling works, there's a little bit of wiggle room on either end. So we've skipped week 3. We're not playing Descent. We're not playing whatever the other week 3 map is. We're going straight to Nexus Tanith. Nexus and Tanith. It's going to be a crazy day. Either there's like solid pocket strats on both maps, or this is going to be a long one. I haven't really seen too much Tanith being played. I've only seen it once in Gathers. Yeah, I'm excited, but I'm going in pretty blind, as are we all. I imagine the teams feel similarly. The map is just not it's very new. It's very big. It's got a lot of res nodes. It's nothing like any of the other maps on the map pool. And Nexus itself is an interesting experience. Everybody has opinions on the map. I happen to really like Nexus. Nexus and Mineral kind of fall into that same boat for me of maps that I think are really interesting, and they create, out of the pool of like 5 maps that we normally play on competitive in gathers on the competitive format. Nexus is it's interesting because it's got this really weird layout that causes it becomes difficult to hold all your lanes, and it's really easy to put pressure onto the naturals of the aliens, but there's this huge expansion lane to the top of the map that you can get lost in, but potentially you can. My game almost for sure has crashed, which is super cool. So let me troubleshoot for a second. Oh yeah, it just full on crashed. That almost never happens for me, so hopefully there's not some weird technical issue that's come along. But let me just figure this out real quick, and I will continue my ever so comforting monologue. So let me get this here. Oh, I guess it's week 5. Ko is correcting me in the chat, but yeah, we're skipping a week here. It's crazy. Again, due to the way that we structure the season, we are relying on team captains to find the best time for their teams to meet up. That means they have to juggle time zones, they have to juggle availability, and we give them a little bit of wiggle room on either end in order for them to be able to establish this a solid time for everybody to be able to meet. So we have this occasion right now where we are going into, I guess it is a week 5 game. It's Binguses versus Snoofed, but we're going to be playing on Tanith, and we're going to be playing on Nexus. So looking forward to it. We've just got the normal start of the game just jumble here as the game gets started. And why not? I'll change my little graphic setting right here. Give you guys a little bit better of a viewing experience. Advanced, miscellaneous, streamer mode, fly. Okay, now we can see view models, which is always fun. We're just getting all the players into the server right now. Just be a few more moments, and then we will be on the way to watching a few games. I literally rolled out of bed like 10 minutes ago. So I've been informed that I made the wrong announcement in the NSL channel, but the stream information and the information on the text scroll are correct. We're playing, it's week 5. We're playing Nexus and Tanith. We're just going to be sitting here waiting for some players to join up. But as soon as we do, we're going to be swapping over. So let's see. I'm going to bring up some of the information I brought up yesterday with the team rosters. Just give me a moment to get that open, and then we'll just do a little bit of looking at what we got going on. You're familiar with both these teams if you've been tuning in to NSL, but I didn't get to watch the last Snoofed game, and they're a great team, so I thought we spent some time introducing the players on Binguses yesterday, but we'll just spend a moment on looking at Snoofed. Now, Snoofed is seeded second place in the season so far, and they're going to have a few more points to gain today, potentially, as they're jumping week 4 straight into week 3, and we'll just they'll just be floating on the top of our little leaderboard here in just a moment. I'm going to bring up my overlay. Everything's going to just take me a little bit longer this morning. So let me get this working. All right. I'm just going to make sure I didn't hear the game start up in the background. Okay, so we just switched to Nexus. The game should be starting relatively soon. We're playing Snoofed versus our Bingy brothers. So Snoofed, as far as team pedigree goes, these guys go about as deep as the game has to offer right now. You've been enjoying watching a lot of these players for a long time, I would imagine. Golden, Wake, Yams, Joshy, they're all super old school players, and they're joined, and Phone, of course, and they're joined by Doggo and Mendo. Mendo is an excellent FPS player, has only found our game relatively recently, but he has a pretty successful stream. I think he makes a living doing streaming, or at least subsidizes his, I think he's a college student. But yeah, he's incredibly dangerous with a rifle in his hand, and he's picking up the game very quickly. Plays Alien just fine, but you're really scared when he's got the gun. Let's see. Yeah. So Phone, we're gonna see if Phone is gonna be like, Phone likes to flex the brain muscle. It doesn't always turn out to be like, I think when I casted the last game with Snoofed, where Infamous was my co-caster, we got to look at the way that they're playing on Biodam. And, I feel like I tend to give the discretion to the commanders who are on the field, especially on a team as proficient as Snoofed. But there were some they were playing a team where they got to do a little bit of playing around with their strategies, which is, I think, probably they will take slightly less risks today, but who knows? We'll see. Yeah, there was a moment in that last game where Phone dropped a hive in platform, and I was like, oh, this is great. This is probably brilliant. This is probably how you hold this room. And then it died 2 seconds later. And Infamous later after the round was like, hey, that was probably Phone just kind of flexing and just having fun. That probably wasn't the best move right there, if you actually think about it. So we'll see if he plays, Phone. It's always fun to see how he does his commanding. So Pecan, really great player. It's going to be, this whole team is just star stacked, and we're really going to have fun watching them play. Star studded, I suppose, is what you normally say. Stacked or star studded. Star stacked probably works, but your boy was out till 2 in the morning last night for the first time in ages. So I am sub 6 hours of sleep at the moment. Game is still about to start. Looks like we got some readies from our guys here. So I am going to switch my overlay. And we are going to get back into the game. MST, you should hit me up if you want to co-cast, I suppose. I could probably use it this morning. Yeah, so Nexus, let's talk a little bit about the map. Let's think about how best to play it. There's a couple of things that you can do. There's I think there's no safe, solid, guaranteed strategy on this map. Everything is difficult, everything is a risk. Everything takes a little bit of luck and a lot of skill to pull off. This is not one of those maps where there's just a decided upon simple strategy which guarantees you 3 to 4 RTs as the alien team. I think it goes kind of for both teams for this map. It's challenging to hold your res because of the travel time between both spawns, which is a locked spawn in this map. There's only one way either team can spawn, but these run distances are rather short, whereas the external hives, the ones that are off to the side, these run distances are rather long. And as far as competitive map, running from relay up to silo, it's just about as far a run as these maps typically have to offer. So we normally see aliens push three skulks into the room in transit. That's typical because it's one of the best, if not the best, room for skulks in the game. And if we take a Marine's perspective, we can see why. There's all these little vents up in the top of the room. There's a bunch of different ways you can egress into the room. This will lead you around corners, and you can jump across here. There's a ton of places where you can do. So this is some Void almost getting caught with his tunnel out again. Void did not have a lot of success at the previous day when he was trying to set up a gorge tunnel. But yeah, the aliens are pretty late to get to transit. This means Wake is going to take the back of the room in relay, and he's going to be hard to push out. He needs to receive some meds, but Void is just probably 1 or 2 pistol shots away from dying. He's on his pistol, so he doesn't want to chase the gorge. He hears the skull coming in the room. but he's going to put pressure on this tunnel, and it's going to really slow down the ability for the aliens to cap this room. Almost dying to the death pit there, but both Skulks jump on the reinforcing Marine at the same time, which is going to put poor Wake alone in the top of Relay, but Marine's already capped up to 4 res nodes, or about to be, with Transit does receive some pressure. They were able to wipe the Marines out of the room in Relay, and now Transit's getting bit up. Histe and whoever is playing under that name pushing the life forms out of that room. But as far as the start goes for both teams, we're seeing something that looks relatively like they'd be satisfied with it. This is an interesting idea from Phone to drop storage. I don't know if he was just looking for that RT. If you try to drop a res node on top of a already capped res node, it's not going to be able to be dropped. There are other ways to check that don't cost any money, but that could have been what he was doing. I don't really know if you'd want to do that. Certainly not before... Oh boy. Does Joshi get out alive? Putting 60 damage into that Skulk before dying. Doggo. New aimbot Doggo. Does take the Skulk before getting killed. Needs to get a med. Almost kills the second Skulk, but that's going to lead for this RT to go down. 3 Marines, though, pushing into overhang. This RT is almost for sure dead, and the Sys Chain is going to be killed. That Relay tunnel doesn't actually hold the res node, so it's going to lead that res lane is actually really, I mean, the Sys Chain really is very important. And this is going to take some damage unless they figure out a way to reinforce and reconnect these cysts. Void, not dead yet, trying to tempt fate. Best player in the game, bravest Gorge alive. But will he get stuck? 3 Skulks already through. Doggo taking a really smart position. I don't know if they knew that he was there. Joshi clearing the room almost, as Pycaz does end up clearing Joshi. But there's nobody on the tunnel. And that Gorge got pinched in that engagement. There's no life forms here to save the expansion, and Relay is going to go down. This is a pretty bad position for these aliens to be in. At this point, you're already thinking probably calling things like, oh, go base, do next, maybe throw out the GG. It's not over yet. The game is just getting into lurk territory, but this is a pretty poor position for the aliens to be stuck in as this early mid-game starts. Doggo smartly just been laning Transit. It's been really important for his team that he's been just right around that corner in order to hold those engagements. But Joshi getting ambushed yet again. Joshi having a hard time pushing on this off lane. Marines on 3 RTs, which isn't fantastic, but they've got a 4th one coming if they can hold on to Enclave, but that might not be the case. Pecan Sam crouching around corners, playing as like a good Euro boy would be playing. And Doggo goes down to a group of aliens. Wake, though, doesn't know about Pycaz. Pycaz giving away his position, but getting that ever-critical Parasite. Parasites just lead to victories, and everybody must do them. If you're playing Skulk at any point in the game, it's almost as important as killing that Marine. Of course, not as important, not quite as important, but just keep that in mind that this is absolutely... Hold on. Oh, I'll hide my little guy. Wait. There we go. What the hell? Yeah. So, aliens have switched directions now, and they've been able to do it relatively successfully. Sisting all the way up into Silo, getting a Crag in the back of staging. This will give them a couple extra seconds to play around with as they go and try to defend their back res. You almost wish you saw them do this from the beginning, especially from that relatively weak commitment to holding Transit. You almost always see 3 or more aliens pushed up into Transit, sometimes even 4, depending on whether you get that quick Gorge tunnel or not. And 1 Skulk on the off lane getting Parasites, just delaying that Marine from capping in platform. Yet again, aliens back res lane under attack. We do see one Marine RT getting chewed on, and it looks like it might go down. Nobody close to that reinforcement, but Doggo trying to hold these positions. Somebody's called that this could be a base rush, and it certainly could be. Nobody in the chair and only one spawning IP. Joshi, though, right around the corner. Alert goes down immediately. Joshi saving the day so far, but will it be enough? There's luckily a second IP for this Marine team to respawn from, but Pecan has entered the room. This pushes the Lurk out, but not before Pecan is able to clutch that kill. Devastating losses for this alien team, but they actually do have their, they established 3 res nodes. They have their tunnel up. This is, economically speaking, the best they've looked so far. Unfortunately, Cass kills them. He wants to have multiple cysts on it, but in order to get the positioning correctly, he temporarily popped his own cyst, which is going to cause him to lose that RT. He might have lost it shortly thereafter, with Doggo reinforcing down that lane. Doggo paying a lot of attention to his own positioning. You can feel it in the way he moves through this map, that he's thinking a lot about how to win the game by Kaz. Just 1%, as he's just hopelessly hiding at the bottom of this death pit. They know he's down there. A couple flippy flaps of his flippy flaps reveal his position as to not have left the room. Probably these Marines know about it. Void is desperately trying to distract. Hopefully Pycaz have some kind of regen upgrade, but unfortunately he doesn't. Pycaz, though, is saved by the Dudmeister. Does get out, but oh, Joshi's already in the room. If he had seen where Pycaz had come from, he might have been able to take it. Joshi, just so strong of an individual Marine player, does end up killing that Skulk, but does get cleared by the second one. 2 RTs for the alien team, and the base res node taking a little bit of damage just due to being desysted. This is sort of an annoying node to hold. It's pretty easy to desist. Killing that cyst there, not super effective, but it's fine. That is still 1 T-res. Void and Pycaz taking advantage of the 2 aliens that actually have range. Pycaz trying to wait for the engagement to commence in order for him to jump in. Those Marines are getting softened up by spikes and spits, but they're still too scary for this Lurk player to engage on his own. He knows he has to stay up. He's the only guy on Lurk at the moment. 2 Lurks having died in that failed base rush. Schroeder's Cats has to get out, catches Joshi in between reloads, does save the day there. That's incredibly important. We missed Pycaz, though, however, dying on his Lurk. That means there are no more life forms, and this aggressive off-lane pressure still able to do a ton of it's still totally annoying for this alien team. Not able to clutch the kill right on that second time. He had the parasite, so he wanted to just jump in, but deaths on every side of the field right now as Marines are relentless in their pressure. This is a really difficult position for these aliens to be in. Nobody is really winning the day for them at the moment, and nobody with enough res to go life form quite yet. Duddy saving for his fade. Duddy's an excellent fade player, and we've seen him carry the team before, but this is a really difficult position. 3-2 already established. Gates about to come up. Max building stuff on the back line. There's just nothing that's stopping this Marine team. But let's see if a cheeky Gorge Tunnel is the answer back into this game. We're looking for Marines to leave the base and not through North Basin. Unfortunately for this Gorge, Wake is going to hear him building. This is going to be easily called out by the commander. And now they're trying to put as much damage into the hive as they possibly can before having to hit that beacon. There's no way he didn't hear that Gorge building a tunnel around the corner. It's hard to imagine that there's nobody ready for this in the Marine base. Wake is going to call it out, and the Marine commander will have a few moments before he has to hit that beacon button, but only a few. This is an interesting call for him not already to be hitting that beacon. Pecan a little bit slow. I guess phone is not around at the moment. I'm not entirely sure. Duddy dying around the corner, and that will cause the aliens to GG. pretty dominant showing from our guys on Snoofed. Joshi absolutely decimating the competition with 11 kills to 9 deaths. Doggo, it was just in the right position almost every time that we thought the aliens could get by or do some kind of strange base rush. Doggo was there. He has a ton of P damage, leading his team by almost 1,000 damage. And his structure damage is nothing to laugh at. You've got IMG player, who I'm not exactly sure who that is, just because they changed their name. Some nice weeby profile there. But might be the name that Mendo is playing under, although I would imagine his accuracy would be higher. I'm not entirely sure who this is. But his structure damage, formidable on that off lane, pressuring and getting a lot of kills. Maybe shot the Hive a bunch to get quite so many there. You can see Snoofed ready, biting at the bit. They feel like they have a really good hold on this map. And unfortunately, they just didn't. I don't know what the call was, but the fact is there was only 1 or 2 skulks in transit. I think there was like 1 skulk in transit and 1 on the gorge, something like that. I forget exactly how the split happened in the beginning, but you really want 3. If you're going to go for that relay tunnel, you want 3 skulks in transit. It's just such a strong room for skulks to jump around it. So much verticality, so many little vents to jump in and out of. There's no reason, you have your entire res lane basically guarded by having this room cut off. If you can get a parasite or 2, nobody's going to get through Enclave without you noticing. So if you hold this room, you're going to hold your tunnel, you're going to hold your res in overhang, and you're going to hold the map. But they didn't do that. Pycaz never, Void was a little slow at getting that tunnel down. It never was fully established. It was established by the door, but normally what you do to pair that, you get that tunnel down, you get it up as quickly as possible, you get that block going, and you have enough time to do that because there's such a cluster of aliens in transit that the gorge actually has enough time to build the tunnel, build some clogs, and you just simply didn't have breathing room to do it in this occasion. It's too bad, though. It's the second time I've seen Void. I don't know if he could have done it any faster, but it looked like there was, for a moment, was a little bit of a hesitation or a slowdown as Void just didn't get that tunnel up at all. And maybe it was more due to the fact that there weren't anybody really properly holding transit. There weren't enough bodies there, but I just was a little surprised that the tunnel didn't come up. As far as the rest of the game, yeah, I don't know. Obviously losing 2 lurks at a failed base rush is not going to be great. They really waited until the last possible moment for the beacon to come through. And maybe that allowed a Marine to come in and get a good angle, or the Marines to get close. Regardless, 3 Marines shooting down this hallway with Duddy's fade just barely coming up. Duddy, as soon as he finally engaged the Marines, was killed almost a moment later. It's pretty tough. Waiting on one of the Bingies to rejoin. Looks like Sectionaire is having a little bit of a trouble. Hopefully he's able to get there without any issue. If their roster extends deep enough, maybe they can reach out to somebody else. Of course, you'd want Sectionaire on the field. He's a fairly strong player himself. And I'd really like to see what Pecan thinks about playing this map. If anybody knows in the chat, What did I mess up? Knightsy was telling me I was Dumbo. I'm sure I missed something. You know, everybody's got an opinion. I was saying nice things about you yesterday, Knightsy. It's too bad. Too bad you're such a mean fellow. Game is about to start, though. I'm just going to make sure my overlay is correct, and we'll get back into it. Alright, I'm very excited to see how Pecan plays this. Probably not going, yep, definitely not going quickly towards relay. Capping both the naturals. I actually kind of like this on this map. A lot of strategies, because of how brutal this map is, if you get run by the Marines through Enclave, through storage, a lot of strategies don't call for expanding both directions, but I actually think it's quite viable. Aliens with no gorge, and a nice engagement here in assembly. Joshy baiting these players in, but will they know about the other skulks? Wake, though, undetected. Gonna take the fight for his team. 2 skulks down, though, and Void is already in the room. He gets the parasite and backs up. Incredibly good for Wake. It seems minor, but that is so important, especially in this early game. We see Cats on the field. I had sort of said I'd like to see him see if he could play the field earlier yesterday. And here he is, out on the field. I wonder if he heard the cast. Wraith going down. I guess Wraith is replacing one of the players from the last round. It might be Pykaz. That's definitely, you know, Wraith is a comm player more or less, so maybe he's been in the comm chair. Yeah, it looks like he was the one who started in the comm chair. Tier 3 caster right here. Didn't really notice the roster saying somebody else was in the comm chair, but I didn't have this open. So, now we know. Cats is on the field specifically because Wraith is in the comm chair. Cats is taking the place of one of his team members that wasn't able to join in this game. Due to the fact that people are constantly changing their in-game names, we're not exactly sure who that is, but I believe it was Pykaz who had to take a break. Sometimes your internet just doesn't work all that well. Somebody has to fill your shoes, big as they might be. And the Gorge Tunnel has been established in platform. 4 RTs up for this team, which we never saw in the previous round. It's not going to be 4 for long, though. I don't think those cysts are going to expand to the RT soon enough for it to live. Joshy with the excellent movement, somehow dodging every bullet like Neo from the Matrix. That's absolutely ridiculous. He's able to jump around 2 Marines, sort of there waiting for him, and clear them both. What a strong moment for this alien side. Unfortunately, Marines not connecting against that alien, but that's gonna be a quick engagement going to Joshy. Super brutal to lose a 2v1 on Marines before lurks go out. That hurts, but they're able to put on some damage. The RTs are going down from 5 to 4, and then possibly back to 3. This is still a great position for these aliens to be in. 5 RTs up for the Marines, though, however, so there are, in this game for sure, there's no reason to expect an early loss from this Marine team. Oof. Sometimes the jiggle step is too strong. The fact that he just delayed, allows one more Skulk to get in the room. Looking for the Parasite, does get it. Histe, waiting for backup, maybe waiting for an ambush, not moving out of his position. I think there's a spot there in the middle of that vent where you can't really hit the alien. Again, this room just so difficult to route a single Skulk out of. Joshy, on his own, being such a menace. As Wake's lurk finally comes out. Pecan out of the chair. Wake in danger. Void not quite connecting with those bullets, but getting him pretty low. Wake has to figure out which way it's safe to leave from. The Gorge is going to meet him here in storage, and he's going to be just fine. But you can see there are Marines all around. This Gorge doing a good job of scouting the safe exit for his life form. Histe now on lurk. Histe was a little late because he was in that vent holding that room. Wake, though, takes a fight that wasn't well advised. Marines doing a ton of economic pressure all over the aliens' res lane, and the one off-lane Marine probably, hopefully, going to win this fight. I don't want to spend too much time watching, but let's look at the scoreboard and make sure that Duddy does end up killing Doggo, and he does. That RT is going to be safe. Means the Marines get to stay on 5 res nodes. Pretty good, if you ask me. Now, this hive is not up yet because there has been no Gorge player, but Histe catches Wraith on the reload, and he's gone down to a single lurk player. That's right, and that works. Here we go. Finally, a Marine res node going down. Schrodinger really trying to pre-fire those aliens, but doesn't kill either of them. Gonna lose this RT as a result. I think he could have got a little bit closer. He did put a ton of damage on, but it sucks for him that neither of these life forms died. And now there's 4 aliens, although one of them retreats. 4 aliens on your backline. No Marines really out on the map. This is a big moment for the alien team to take the lead. Marines on 4 res nodes, but it's really going to be 3 in just a moment. Void not waiting quite long enough for backup. Wu Lad having the hallway to take a few shots down, but this is probably going to lead to Relay going down as well. This lurk is pushed out, but he's high enough health to stick the RT. Histe doesn't go for the RT kill, but instead trying to hold his own res lane. Zapar gonna get caught on the reload. Easy kill for this lurk player as he comes in with spikes all the way until he gets to chomping. Ooh, Joshi versus Wraith. These little wins between Joshi and Wraith, it's been really tough for this Marine team. Just like losing 1v1s versus Skull in this early game position, or it's now solidly mid lane. Oh, by the way, just in case you were paying attention and haven't seen it, we've got a Proto Lab. That's right. Proto's up. 2-2 is about to be up. Pretty interesting. This is a map that has got high ceilings in about every room. I think it's going to be hard to kill lurks. You know, you might want shotguns to do that. Cat's trying to hold on. Histe. Wow! Cat's almost kills Histe. In a moment of excellent field play, this commander, usually a commander-only player, able to push that lurk out of the room, but Wraith can't quite take his lead. Wraith struggling to land shots. Strong, calm player, but doesn't play the field all that often. He definitely pubs the field, and occasionally you see him, I mean, he will play well, you know, given the circumstances. But in this high tier alien squad, it's just going to be too much for him. He's constantly losing in North Basin, which, you know, to be expected. There was like 2 life forms and a Gorge or something during that engagement. But a couple of those earlier fights, oh, Histe going low. We'll take Void's perspective, because you know he's the strongest Marine player there is. And nothing. Yeah, I really, you know, oh, not jetpacks. Excuse me. What was I thinking? It's going to be an exo train straight out into the hive position. You know, it's hard to imagine. I mean, like, I don't know where you drive these exos. I know that you would have to drive them to a hive, because that's just how exo trains work. Oh, nice pinch. Potentially killing a life form here, but most of them are pretty full life. The lurk does die around the corner, and that pinch was successful, but they've lost a lot of their field control, and they're back on 2 RTs. That's just too few RTs. but there's a ton of P-res on their team. 40, 40, 48, 48, 47, 49. That's enough to buy an Exo, I think. It's time to see the big Robo War Train stomping out onto the field. Gonna be exciting to see that on a comp game, but is Nexus really the map to do it? Those walk times can be immensely long if you go up to... There's now an expansion being established in Relay to get an Exo all the way up into Silo and back down into Relay. That's going to be enough time to relearn. You know, not quite, but you know what I'm saying. It's going to be plenty of time to respond. And unfortunately for these Marines, this is an interesting play they're making here. I don't really know if I totally get it. Do Exos cost like more than I think, and they're just waiting for the P-res? I think they have it, right? It's not 50 P-res, is it? I don't think so. Histe finally going down. Turrets out in base. Boyd gonna get pretty decimated by Doggo, but might have the reload, not quite. Almost gets it before Wraith gets the clear. Been really great if he was able to kill that Skulk, because the Lurk player had been pushed out of the room. But the Skulk does win the engagement. Wraith taking a good angle, but Joshi has a Gorge to heal him up. And there are too few Marines on that side of the map to push that Fade out of there. No shotguns. So the Fade is going to feel really strong until those... Wow. Maybe just pumping out as many max as he possibly can to assist the back res capping, to assist the Exos as they push out onto the field. But, you know, those max could be res nodes, that is. Alright, Tapar needs to kill that Skulk. He is able to do it, but... Yeah, just like can't really get out of their base. They're barely able to hold on to their singular res node as Duddy and Schrodinger get out on the field. Lots of damage coming on that Lurk. But there's so many alien life forms, there's so much alien P-res that even if I was able to clutch that, it doesn't matter all that much. Just no guns have come out, so basically they're just floating a ton of P-res. Joshi getting stuck for just a moment. Could have gone down there, but not going to. But you can see aliens on 6 res nodes. It's way too many. Marines have to act right away. I didn't realize it was quite so much res for Exos, so that's what's been going on. They're just trying to establish some res so that they could go Exo. I wonder if the aliens have an inkling of what's happening right now. They must be aware that there's no... well, here they are. They're going to figure it out rather quickly. Oh my god, Wake gonna make it through. Oh, jeez. This is so interesting. You just never see this. And not only do you never see this with Exos, you never see this with how many railgun Exos there are. There are just a ton of railgun Exos. I'm not entirely sure that that's what you want. You do have one minigun. But they're going to walk down here into Relay, and they're going to clear this room rather quickly. But do they have enough in base with just one Exo on Wraith? Wraith, the one that's been stuck on the offline the whole game. But he hasn't been too successful on it. They're going to be able to overwhelm him in just a moment. Yeah, no chance for him to hold the room. They're going to have to drop. Oh, no. And on the other side of the field, the Exos are pretty split and having a tough time. He has to drop a chair. Actually, the chair not receiving too much damage as of yet. Schrodinger. Yeah, they do drop a chair. Just in case. The Exo's even coming back? What the heck, guys? Make some kind of decision. Oh, they don't drop a chair. I thought I saw one dropped. Yeah, this is GG. Almost for sure. But we do have 2 spawning IPs and an Exo around the corner. Void killing... I guess it was 2 Hydras and a player, but almost getting Histe too. They do hold on to the base just as easy as that. Only one Exo has died so far, and that was Wraith's. And the Exo train continues to push forward. It is only 2 Exos in this train, but that may be enough. Armor 3 started. This push is going to happen before Armor 3 gets to be fully upgraded, though. No chance for that to go down. Ooh, his day was... Let's take their perspective so we don't lose that. Railgun Exo in the back of the hive room. How cool is our sci-fi shooter game? Oh, God, but they're demolished by these Fade players. Oh, Zepper. Ah! Oh my god. Having a hard time getting that singular skull. Sometimes that can be the case in Exos. You know, you're just... It's like being in a big truck or something. You can hardly see the sedan sitting next to you. Oh, Void getting jumped upon by this Gourd player. Doggo doing a lot of fancy movements. Pretty much solos that. There was a Fade kill somewhere on the map. Probably he was on the other side of the Marine start. I was so focused on Doggo going down. Joshy's still on Fade, though. That Hive going to be redropped. No P-Res, really, for this Marine team. Somehow still getting up to Armor 3 weapons, too. But, yeah, a lot of T and P-Res in that push. Not, you know, as soon as you leave the base, you're going to have a lot of trouble. I mean, I would have liked, if you have 5 Exos, I would have liked 2 of them to stay in the base and only 3 of them to push together. I think there's just really no other way you can do that. It's just too dangerous. I mean, you're not going to really need commanders medding, so might as well get the comm out, push with the Exos, have another person there to weld. I guess he wanted to micro those drifters, but yeah, the things that aren't drifters for Marines, the Mac. But I think you could have clicked them on to the Exo on like a follow sort of setting. Not really sure. Pretty sure you might have been able to. Anyways, Wraith versus Joshy yet again. I wonder how many times poor Wraith has been killed by Joshy, but he stayed going down to Duddy. Can the Marines... Is it like even reasonable to think there's a chance for the Marines to get back in this? Zepar does show that the Railgun Exo must be respected. I mean, I hardly play with Exos, especially in comp, but I was under the impression that the Railgun was just inferior. I guess it's sort of the difference between having a heavy machine gun versus having a shotgun, more or less, but, you know, I just don't think it's worth it. Yeah, that's going to be wiped up. This gate is not going up. Marines somehow able to hold on to 3 RTs. I think it's a miracle in of itself. But did Zepar lose his gate? I mean, his thing. Yeah, he certainly did. And this RT is going to go down too. Oh no, he was just welding it up. Got it. Cool. Zepar, the only remaining Exo, trying to go into the breach and kill these aliens. Pushed back out of the room. Such a scary moment. Trying to hold on. Wraith clinching that kill. Joshy, his sworn enemy, not the Fade he ends up killing, but does end up killing 1 Fade. That's good, even if it was Calm Fade. And a gate in transit. This is going to allow them to hold their back line a little bit better. Wow. Does anybody have enough P-Res for mines? It feels like just like there's already such a depleted set of resources on this Marine side. It seems kind of crazy to me to think that you would go for mines. But, you know, 1 mine kill already, so mines paying for themselves, I guess. Joshy getting out with half-life, not going to land on a mine. Receiving now under some pressure. Wake is going to take the back of this gate. getting a ton of bites before the Marine is about to turn around. Schrodinger does clinch the kill. Joshy, no fear, no respect, no way. And yet he goes back in. Wow. Doesn't die. Joshy just playing with his food at this point. They're in such an advantage with advanced swipe being up, and all the biomass they have. You can see Xeno and Stomp coming around the corner. The aliens are about as late game as you can be. Doggo running circles around these Marines. Everybody's sort of just struggling to keep their head up, to keep their energy up. A little bit of missed shots, probably due just to being frazzled. But the game is certainly over, and here's the GG. The game, you know, I think they had a feeling. They lost one of their players for Wraith, and I think they just knew that they were here to have fun. Snoofed is just such a strong competitor. This map, so difficult to play on. It's just like, it's so brutal because of how short of run distance there are between naturals. That's what characterizes this map. In order to go and cap res beyond your naturals, you have to basically go on vacation. So when you're on vacation, you have a home invader and you lose your back res. On both sides, this is the case for Nexus. So, you know, I think any disparity between skills in teams is just magnified. In losing one of their players to have Wraith on the field most of the game, even though he was the commander, he just was losing his offlane 1v1s versus Skulks, and that just let the aliens put pressure on the entire game. It's not only you, Wraith, and you did a valiant effort. The alien team just didn't feel, or the team captained by the Binguses, the Bingai, the Bing Bros, they just had a little bit of a hard time getting their backs to the wall, spotting their enemies before the engagement happened, expecting ambushes. It just didn't go their way. I think once you get frazzled to the point where you're just basically doing a meme strat, it's just like, that wasn't a strat of confidence. That was just an attempt to have fun. And yeah, it could have worked. Maybe if the organization of how many exos were in the base versus how many were pushing the hive was a little bit different, you would have had a slightly different result. But you just saw them on 2 RTs versus the Alien 6 for so long. You can wipe an entire round of life forms, and there's still life forms to come because the aliens have so much P-res. The Exos, I just never really, it's just like, I don't see it working on many maps, but you know what, the map I really don't see it working on? Yeah, that's right, Nexus. Nexus is just, it has these short walk distances from main to main, which maybe I think should have been the thing they did, although probably shorter to relay for Marines. And then you have these very long walk distances between the two expansion hubs. Now, I guess you could go clockwise, killing one hive or then the other, but yeah, it's just very difficult for such slow-moving, unbeaconable, unphase gateable units for the Marine team to be that effective on a map with one of the longest walk distances. Now we're on Tanith, though, and let's think a little bit about how this is played. There's so many question marks for this map. As far as res nodes go, there's, I believe, is there? Yeah, there's one in each hive position. So that's 3, 4. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out on the map. 6. Yeah, but this double situation, the way the Marines don't have a clear natural, I suppose it sort of begs that you go and take reactor. This is based largely off of NS1 Tanith, and of course NS1 maps, they were pretty different than our most popular NS2 maps. Except, of course, Vale is up there. Vale just about as NS1 as it gets. Excuse me. But, yeah, not too many of them were able to successfully make the migration over to this game. Although some of them do get pubbed, these maps really are not super standard for this game. There was a lot of things done to make the difference between aliens and Marines, although the two sides are very unique. NS1 had a bigger difference in the way that play was structured. Like 1 or 2 RTs was enough for the alien team. So these kind of weird maps where pushing into the aliens, it was just a different game, let's be honest. It's that simple. And this first engagement goes 1-to-1. Nothing too bad there, but Marines are able to establish their res. They're not electing to go for a relay, which I think is actually probably pretty smart given the way the aliens are playing. They're splitting the map in half. It's like an armistice. They've made their truce, they've made their decision, and they're just going to have to share. And the aliens are capping one side of the map while the Marines cap the other. But here they go, trying... Oh, no! Getting stuck on those pipes. The geometry not clear for this alien void, just like getting a little stuck. Unfamiliarity with the map can lead to such little moments like that, but he's just getting stuck on this pipe here. It's going to make it really difficult. All of a sudden, this clear has to happen pretty much now, and it does, so good job for that alien team. But meanwhile, on the other side of the map, let's see if Void can get the ambush here. This would be really important if he was able to do it. Doesn't wait for the second Marine. Joshy just flips around like Jesus. You know, there's no moment to miss, no bites missable. Joshy's just going to unload and not miss a single bullet. Duddy clearing Doggo, though. Doggo not quite in the right position for the first time. Joshy finally goes down. That's really good that he's been cleared off the back lane. But 2 Marines pressuring. Gonna get that Drifter if they're not careful. Wraith healing the Drifter as a Gorge. Wraith playing Gorge this round, not playing Commander. Definitely on the field. But they are going to be able to move that structure. Such a cool looking map, really beautifully made. And you know what? I think it holds true to some really important principles of map design in this game, of not being too cluttered, not having too many places. You know, I think when we look at maps that don't quite work for NS2, like Metro comes to mind, there's a lot of complaints from that game, from that map, from our game, because it's just too... It looks too modern in the fact that it's populated by lots of things for aliens to hide behind. This map a little bit more open, a little bit more true to the NS1 roots, a little bit more in the style of this game. You know, the rooms are beautifully rendered, but they're not too funky to navigate. Not too many things to jump around. Still designed like a 90s FPS or early 2000s FPS. Which is what you want for good play in this game. Was that true? Was that how many kills he got? Oh my god. Oh, I didn't even look at the stats from last round. Holy shit. I almost want to take a digression in order to do that. This RT for sure dead. Aliens not able to put on much pressure at all. They're going to leave this room with all this PvE in here, but you know, that's a lot of PvE established to hold the room, and we have 1 Marine who could just put a lot of damage into it. It's going to take a long time to clear it. Plenty of time for these 3 lurks to come back and try to clear the room. But this Marine player looking for the ambush. Unfortunately, oh no, the Gorge abandoned that first... That lurk just noped out of that engagement. He was, you know, he's doing the thing where, you know, you're... Oh, yeah, base rush. 2 spawners and the cap and the Marine comm. But Marine comm not on the field. Not gonna jump out while he has Marines respawning. This could be a victory. Wake taking the doorway though. He has to be cleared. Void's the only one on him. It's so important that somebody sticks on him. Oh boy, not quite organized enough. Those lurks had to play together. Void, it was the right idea to go try to meet him at the doorway, but oh my god, Zipper! Those two lurks barely able to get out. The IPs were clutched though. Both IPs did get killed. Pretty gigantic. Yeah. Hard to imagine that would have been allowed. Joshi, though, staying in the chair, maybe hoping to med his Marines as they come back in the room. But I think there was a point where he could have been out of the chair while he had one spawner. Now, that doesn't seem like a huge difference, but flying into the rifle of two highly trained, very successful Marine players, it's going to be much harder to clear that. They might not have lost both IPs, but able to reestablish them. Arms lab in the back of the room untouched. Aliens taking a huge chunk out of this Marine team, though. Only one RT is going to remain after this RT and waste handling goes down. They can shoot the whip from the doorway, but the commander is on it. It's going to move it out of the room into a safer position, but Joshi's still going to shoot at that whip. Going to take some damage from it, though. They don't... And the whip has been moved successfully into a safe position. The Crag is the only thing that's died so far. And the whip gets a kill. Joshi taking a step too far. Not able to keep a hold of his life there. But no, not enough aliens responding to this. The PvE is for sure going to die. Have they made a decision, though, to go hit base again? This could be the call. They really need to rely on this lurk. Although, Doggo, right around the corner, going to take a pick. The commander has to get out here. Doggo's just around the corner. All you need to do is delay for a second. Pecan does do it. Now, Joshi out. Pecan dead. But Zapar is barely holding on to his life. Duddy and Zapar basically black bar. Zapar just going to delay as long as he can. This RT not cleared, but all the PvE has died. Another alert goes down. No lurks remaining. Lots of aliens on the spawn queue. It's going to be a difficult position. But you know what? I like that they're committing to the base rush strategy. They're going to go back again and again and again until these Marines learn they can't aggress onto the map without being hit. Part of the reason that this map is going to be difficult for Marines and aliens to play is that it's so unfamiliar. There's so many lanes to cover. If you cap at all, you're going to be leaving one of your lanes open. But now 4 Marines on the aliens back line. I mean, like, this is again a situation where doing a little base pressure would really possibly be the right idea. They have 4 Marines out on the map, only one respawning. They have higher life forms. They've got this tunnel that gets around the Marines. Maybe they want to hold on to their... Oh, Duddy. Out of energy. Not going to be able to be killed. But I'm a little surprised. You know, it's only seconds before the OBS goes down. Most likely, with how much base pressure they've been receiving. I, as a Marine commander, would probably elect to get an OBS pretty soon. But you got all the Marines out on the field. This is the time to hit that base. If everybody comes right now, I mean right now, not a second to delay, this could be game. I mean, the Marines are on the map. If they're careful, they can drop all their structures in the top of waste. But look, he's dropping the OBS, being like, oops, I forgot this. But there's only one chance to stay in this game, and Pecan does not get it right. This is an alien victory. Binguses taking one from Snoofed. Such a strong team. I think the Binguses weren't sure they'd be able to do it without this kind of crazy base pressure. But this worked. This absolutely worked. They did not respect how much pressure they were receiving. They kept on aggressing onto the map. The demand of these 4 res lanes was too much for this Marine team to be able to scout relay. They never did it. They always were pressuring through chemical transport, didn't have a single soul pop into relay, and that tunnel went unscouted for so long. They did find the perfect position when all the Marines were out of the base to find the moment that they needed to jump into that Marine side and just clear the entire base. Pecan doing a classic commander gaffe of jumping out of the chair. The only choice he really had, he had a Marine in waste handling, was to try to drop a chair in waste handling, recycle the entire Marine base, and get some IPs up as quickly as possible. He didn't have the obs, and maybe he thought he did. You definitely saw him drop the blueprint out of frustration, but by that point, it was far too late. There's no chance you can get out and build that, my friend. The only thing you could have done is mass recycled and moved locations. It's something we hardly ever see in the game at this stage. Mostly if you get to that position, you've already lost. But occasionally we do see it. And it needed to be... It was the only play. It wouldn't have been a good play, but it was the only play he had in his arsenal. That's just gonna be game. There's no one way for this to happen. Okay, I really wish I had looked at the stats from that last game a little bit more. I don't know what the heck I was talking about. I would have liked to admire that pub level of KDA. Joshy absolutely destroyed on that dead lane, killing 2 Marines as that Skulk 2v1 early game. That's crazy. I think Armor 1 was up as well. So nutty. He was able to bounce around the room. We didn't see it from his player perspective. We saw it from the spectator perspective, where he was just jumping off the wall and then perfectly got behind both Marines without them actually seeing. Like, they were trying to track him, and he somehow got behind them. That's pretty crazy. I think this is a cross-spawn map. I don't really know, to be honest, but I think that's the case. That there's only one hive location viable in Fusion Core. But I have literally never played this map. I have watched some games on this map. People practice on this map. I watched Gather on this map just to see how it plays. I think it'd be great if people ended up liking this map, but I think we're yet to see if it really works for comp play, because I think there's some arguments that it does. I think people like Ranger think it does, that he's been advising the map designer to change some things to make it more viable for one side or the other. But just having 4 proper lanes is just, it's so hard to decide where you ought to go. It's so antithetical to the way the game works normally, with 3 lanes, and with some maps that kind of have a cheeky half lane, like we talked about on Zombie. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how Snoofed plays this. Binguses found the right moment to hit that back line. I could totally see Cats in the chair. Could totally see Cats going for an... Well, he is going to be out on the field. Interesting stuff. Usually when you see... Oh, boy. Is this just straight going to be some kind of counter rush? You rushed us, so we'll just do it to you faster and more ferociously. Perhaps, perhaps not. Hard to say. I guess you can hold your entire res lane down this lane. Oh, Doggo getting in behind those players. Absolutely wiping them off the face of the map. Fusion Core under attack, though. They are going to be able to walk all the way right into that hive. The tunnel has to come up, but this drifter is in danger. Both drifters in danger. They're going to find the one building the RT. Not a ton of time for them to try to jump out here. You see they push this drifter out, I think, partially because they need to get that tunnel up before the Syschain dies if they can't clear Wraith, but they certainly can. Histe doing the jiggle step on poor Wraith with his pistol out. I'd be just the same, Wraith. I'd be just the same. Tons of damage gonna be hit on the. You need to build the Syschain with a Drifter. Like, this Drifter needs immediately to be on this. The Syschain, they're in danger of losing both of these RTs. That would be a pretty big gaff from Cats. I think he's. Oh God! Ouch! 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 Does have a Gorge on the other one, so that one's gonna survive. But too bad. That could have been saved. Would have delayed the RT that's currently up a little bit. Oh no. Wraith, look up, Wraith. It's like a horror. Oh no, I'm not looking at Wraith. Damn it. Why does it do that? There are 2 Marines spawning, and the commander's right outside of the chair. Has his head on a swivel because of what he did to them the previous round. But, yeah, aliens. I like this idea of, you know, splitting the map. I think it's really the only thing you can do. Both teams did it like this last time. But they committed so many aliens in order to win that engagement. Pecan for this alien team. I think he's thought it through. I think it's a good idea to have done what he did. Joshy patiently waiting as more teammates come through. This entire res lane held effortlessly by this Gorge wall. Pecan, though, not going to wait around for too much longer. Knows that he has to clear this Marine, otherwise they're going to get all over his res. He's like, if you guys aren't going to jump for it, I sure as heck will. Oh, this Gorge, going to get caught, possibly. No, he's able to get behind Duddy. You need to perform here, Dud. And he does. Gets bit once, but puts a ton of damage on both Skulks, netting 1 kill and almost killing the second. Gorge player playing around his Clawgrowl really well. Yeah. Schrodinger out of the chair. He's got enough time to be out on the map. Going 2-2 and playing the field. Could this be a moment where Schrodinger actually plays slightly more standard and lends his rifle to the cause of winning the game? I think we are seeing it right now. I haven't seen him once go for armor 2 after armor 1 in this series so far that I've casted over the last 2 days. It'll be interesting to see if it makes the difference for his team. He already has a win under his belt against this incredibly talented team. 2 spawners and the commander's in the chair. If he needs to, he can jump out. Wraith doing a little economic damage. Doggo trading bite for bite. This alien team, though, they've been on fewer RTs for quite some time, and gates are trying to be established. I think this is the right. As much as you would want Weps 1 against Lurks, and believe me, you do. You really need gates on this map. It's too weird. How are you going to put pressure and hold your res? Aliens, though, not using these Lurks to do anything but defensively hold their RTs, looking for these Marines. They found them. Wake setting up, but a scan comes down. They know where these Lurks are. 4 RTs to the to the Marines 5. Both teams okay with the position they're in. Hive is now finished. 2 Lurks and a Skull. But 4 Marines in this room. Why push into 4 Marines? Will Histe be able to get out? He probably shouldn't have been able to. Running through all the Marines there. That's pretty crazy. And the 5th Marine in the base here. Does this cause the aliens to try the gambit that works so well on them? This time, though, there is a OBS.
And he's got that trigger finger that you like to see. The Ob's not going to be able to be killed. They even save it. The forward gate has been established. They just need to power up that base gate. But will they have it up in time? It's going to be a matter of seconds, and it's just not going to be able to be held. 2 Marines do get through, but that's going to be it. Oh, but Wu Lad coming... Oh, if he was able to just hold that fight for just a second longer, Wu would have an excellent, excellent angle. Joshi being caught by Wu. And a gate is being reestablished on the Marines' res lane. Gonna hold reactor 2 core, this double res node. Skulk on Doggo going forward, maybe just to get that, you know, it's a little strange that he didn't stick the RT there. I think he was just looking for the parasite to give the lurks enough information. They are sort of caught here, but aliens kind of splitting the line of sight of the Marines, and Wu Lad just didn't focus his stay until too late. Or whoever that was. Wake. Rather. His stays right in front of me. And Joshi, the terror. The terror of map 1. Absolute madness how much he was able to affect that first map. Back on his life form, Doggo and Joshi. Doggo you don't see go fade very often. It's pretty cool. It's just because we don't see it. Oh, this gate. Barely being reinforced. Will it be in time, though? Oh, boy. That's about as big of a crush as you can get. Doggo with really good... Oh, wow. Shotgunner almost pushes them off, but isn't able to. Dang. Well, they do have 1 gate still, but these life forms are going to be tough. Mine started before Weapons 2. Weapons 2 shotguns really need that to feel comfortable fighting these incredible Fade players. But you know what? It's not a Wraith game unless you get mine. I mean, it's not a... Oh, Wraith, buddy. Coming in clutch in this game. Trying to make up for his performance in that previous map. Yeah, clutching that kill against this lurk as it was leaving the room. That kind of awareness is super important. Sometimes comes from being a comm, mostly only comm player. But Zapar, only one fighting against Doggo, does get baited into that tunnel there. Funny to see the Fade split up right here. Doggo didn't take too much damage. What are you doing, my friend? Oh, trying to hold on to Fusion Core, I suppose. And he is going to do it, but this guy's just going down. So, victories on both sides of the map. That's pretty ouchies. But 3 Marines coming right around the corner. They're not going to be able to save the res node. But they do successfully push all the aliens out of the room. Upgrades being taken in vents. Doggo getting stuck around the corner. Oh, yeah. Doggo Fade. I want to see how he plays it. I'm not going to be watching him for too long, though, because he's left the engagement. Let's take Joshi's perspective. He was the Fade to watch in the last match. But yeah, they're getting ping-pongs between their gates, losing guns every time they do it. It's good to establish this gate to hold res in waste, but it's not aggressive enough. I know it seems kind of close to the other gate position, but I might push it past this tunnel and sewers and at the top of this access hallway. I think that might be a better position, because they have been losing gates and res ever since they tried to establish this network. It has been bad for them ever since. They were holding more RTs before they were getting gates up. Of course, there were no Fades at the time. Zapar gonna miss his first shot, and Doggo hits him, you know, with the longest lanky fade arm you've ever seen. Hits him right as he comes through the hallway. Doggo playing fade really well. I have a feeling like Doggo might be a god fade. I know I should be taking Joshy's perspective after his round last time, but he's gonna go back to heal just as I switch to his perspective. Not a lot of fun to watch. Duddy pushing the lurk out of the room, but breaking LOS with Wraith. Wraith not picking up that shotgun just yet. He probably should. Does end up doing it. Doesn't get a weld before the gate gets built. They're going to power up this gate, and that's going to be just fine. But now, the gate on the other side is going to receive pressure. This is what they've been doing so far. Oh, Wake, the drama. I'm missing it right now. I don't know how this... Oh, Wake. Not Wake going down. In fact, Wake gets out. That other... I guess you can't get in there on that side. But Histe gets blown out of the sky. Marines finally starting to reestablish, starting to feel a little bit better, holding on to this gate for just a second. Void is going to get taken out by Joshy in just a moment. Joshy not really receiving any any sustained damage with the use of vampirism. He doesn't sustain any damage. Ooh, another lurk goes down though, so the birds are falling out of the sky. Joshy in danger. Oh, getting stuck! Oh, what a shit moment. Just absolute poopy. Railings always to be feared by Fade players, but that is just the kind of thing that needs to get ironed out by map testing. You know, it's partially just the way the map is, you know, it's partially, you know, the movement of the player, but sometimes the map is just not as buttery as it could be. You want to make sure everything slips and slides and no big fellas get stuck on railings. Pecan, gonna be annoying in this vent. Where does he end up going? Doesn't really matter. He's pulled Marines off the front line. And he does go back for this gate, which pulls Duddy back. Duddy, though, has to fight Doggo. Doesn't really connect. Zapar is through, though, with a shotgun. They are going to be able to hold this room most likely. I say that, though, and is it the caster's curse? Nobody else coming through that gate yet. That's going to be a dead gate in just a moment. That's too bad. 2 guns on the ground. That hurts a lot. Walking back to this room, they are trying to pinch here, but no shotguns on these pinching Marines. Catches the skull, does a ton of damage to the Lurk. Lurk gets out, though. Are they too far from their other gate? Are they going to ping-pong the Marines back and forth? Are the Marines going to ever get to hold more than 5 RTs? Probably not at this rate. Interesting. Max being pumped out. Let's see if he's able to do a little recapping or a little welding with these Max. Maybe even being able to build the gate if it falls down with a Mac instead of these human players. Joshy having had lost that fade in the most lamest way possible. Now on Skull. Probably still, though, somebody to be afraid of. Doggo taking a huge meat shot, but knows exactly his exit route. He egresses from that room with fadey excellence. This gate under attack, watching out for that mine, does clear it. Mines not feeling as effective as you might want them when you properly deal with them with a Lurk player. Oh, Lurk continuing to pop these mines. Entire alien team on this res lane. Ping pong continues to be played with the hearts of this Marine team. Player, I'm a player out on the field. Doggo, new aimbot Doggo. The fade that survived All these Marines are going to be sent back to the spawn queue, but the 2 surviving Marines are on the gate. But unfortunately, that means that the res has been cleared on the entire map. This is the only gate they have, and it's a tad bit too defensive. I think the only problem with having a gate right here, which is what I was proposing earlier, is if you're able to hold on and control that vent there. But I'm just not really sure you can do it. Speaking of what I'm not sure or whether or not you're able to do, can you afford to go for a beacon here? You have to, but it's going to be basically all your T-res as advanced assistance finishes with only 1 resource tower. How you going to cat pack if you don't have any money? Cancel that, get your res lane back online, maybe you have a chance. But yeah, the incredible play of last round, really thinking well, using your big brain. Oh, what? No way. No way. Oh! How did this happen? They just walked in here and I was totally... Oh, it's too soon! It's too soon! Oh, God, no, no, no. 1 gate established from the base gate, though, however, not going to be established. The way I missed it was with the Mac. The Mac is what built that gate. All the Marines were still sort of popping around, trying to hold on to the 1 RT they had. Oh my God, if this Mac goes completely undetected, he builds the power inside of the hive. Basically impossible. But how funny would that be? That's what I want to see. Give me that in a comp game, and I will be a happy boy for the rest of my life. He's made the decision. There's really no way other than making this gate to get back into the round, but that's going to mean they're going to be on they're about to lose this RT. They're about to have 1 base RT, and that's about it. And that is just not going to be a good place for these Marines. I am tier 3 caster at your service. I didn't see those Macs flooding all the way into the alien side of the base, and neither did those aliens. I can't believe they didn't make a push for that hive. How could you not, with it being 1%, try to go back into that hive room and just breathe on it? Holy crap. I am sorry, but I actually think you just kill relay, you cap relay on the way, and you just go and kill that hive real quick. How could you not? I suppose this way they get to reestablish 2 RTs with 1 gate, and it's slightly will prolong this game. But I think you gotta go guts and glory. There's really no other way to win. That sneaky gate was such an excellent moment, such a cat's moment. Such a cat's moment in that I totally didn't even see it coming. And neither did the alien team. If he had just was able to just wait a quarter second longer, that hive would have died. And it was so close. It was like less than 1%. So sad for Cats. I wonder, does he even remember that there's a drifter up here? Oh boy. Not enough to beacon this time. And too many of the Marines are on the spawn queue. This gate in danger of going down. I'm a player taking a... I don't know. I don't know about taking that upgrade right there. I'm pretty sure that gate would have been down already. But Cats not beaconing in time, not having the ability to beacon in time, and that's going to be game. Well, it's too bad that Gambit didn't work. That was really close. But that'll be it for now. Those were the games we got to see today. Oh, Lord, I am stretching my booze-inflicted body. I don't even know how I'm going to be productive today. So you know what that means. Go, go, gather. You didn't get... I saw most of you join this game when there was, when the start of a cast, most of you were still in bed or doing other things. You finally got to the screen just in time for the map 2, but that wasn't enough. That wasn't enough. NS2 for you. Doggo, oh my god, these Fade players absolutely murdering. It just goes to show you when you don't have weapons 2 and you don't have shotguns and you've got a mixed field of players, you don't have one of your best shooters, Sectionaire, not being able to last, unless he changed his name, who knows. I don't think that Wu was sectioned, but I guess it could have been. No, he's on my friends list, so it would show up, right? Yeah, definitely not sectioned. Yeah. It's just been so hard for the Marines to kill these alien players. I know they have shooters, but just like the KD on when this Snoofed side goes alien, the KD just is out of control. And that could be partially due to some gambit by... Ooh, that's rather low. Getting that 4-minute armor 2, not bad. Armor 1, I think, is a little delayed. Maybe I think they got an infantry portal pretty quick. But weapons 1, 6 minutes, and they never got weapons 2. Advanced support, I don't know at the time when he started advanced support if he had more of his res lane up, but that's just... You don't let that finish if all you have is 1 RT. You just don't. It's not the right idea. That's for sure. It's too bad we didn't take the player perspective more often in this game. I think I'm too unfamiliar with this map, but it's really gorgeous. It's a little weird to play, but it's quite good. Oh, and now I'm reading the chat, and I'm embarrassed because I forget both times that this has happened, that Cats has done these sneaky gates. You don't need the power if you've got Power Surge, which is a thing you get from Advanced Assistance. It's used so infrequently that third-tier caster that I am, I forget. Well, thanks for being my friends, somewhat deflated as I am, somewhat foggy as I am from a night of going out. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for joining. Let's see how this... I'm excited to see more teams play on this map. Obviously, I think it's very obvious how you play it as aliens, getting the tunnel in this hallway right here, clogging right here, expanding all the way down, having most of or all of your aliens holding relay in the beginning of the match, pushing the skulks in here and defending your entire res lane. There are 4 res lanes, but these 2 chokes, if you set your tunnel in the front of these chokes as the alien squad, you can prevent pretty much all the movement through the map. All of a sudden, this map doesn't seem quite as insane as it did when I first looked at it. I'm starting to think that this could be a viable comp map. Yeah, but that cheeky, incessant, over and over again rushing the base really worked out. We saw some excellent tries. I just think that this gate up here just never did them any good. They kept on having to run between their gates, and I think maybe once the game gets to a mid-game position,
I wonder if like a more defensive kind of Cat's Gate style of having a gate back at the beginning of these hallways and trying to push the aliens off of their tunnel, and then all of a sudden you get these RTs, which puts you up to 6 RTs. I don't know if that's really feasible, but I'm starting to think that like 2 defensive gates, one in relay and one in exterior paths, is probably the way I would play this map. Yeah, a lot to be figured out still. A lot to be figured out. Yeah, look, you've got some excellent accuracies on the 2 top players, but people are just bleeding out on the bottom side of this scoreboard. And I think that's partially due to being a little frazzled. That's partially due to being on a map that they're unfamiliar with, and that's partially due to the disparity in skill to some degree. But, not having weapons too. It's a big part of that story. It's too bad that they weren't able to upgrade to that. And I apologize to all you Cats lovers, all you strategy first players, that I don't understand that power surge is on advanced assistance. I will never make that mistake again, I promise. It is now cemented in my mind. I understand why Cats gets advanced assistance in this occasion. It really does make sense. So, my mind corrected, my mind to your mind, Vulcan mind meld, however you want to say it. But let's take a quick look at the schedule for next week, and then we'll sign off. So I'm going to do that right now. We're going to switch to our web browser overlay. Boop. 'Tis a boop that I booped. And you see the mighty gather page already filling up. Section there, it is in the gather. Wasn't able to continue on for that game, but did end up being in the end of that gather. I'm really excited to see the week 4 games. The week 5 maps are obviously super enticing. I want to see at least one good game on week 5. And I think the ones that will give it to you are going to be Elo game versus Salty Skulks. That's going to be kind of a fun match to see on this. Crowbar is going to have some interesting ideas. He's been playing this game since NS1, so might be a little bit more familiar with how to play Tanith than the average Marine comm, but that might just be a load of horse bollocks. Gorge's Gone Wild versus Handwasher, also possibly an interesting game. We'll see how Handwashers performs. I haven't been able to see them since the first time I casted and caught them playing Salty Skulks. Handwashers was kind of beat pretty badly by Salty, but they are good players. Crazy Cats is a really strong player and playing the game for a long time. So I think the one that we're really looking forward to, is going to be this Elo game versus Salty Skulks for this week 5. As far as week 4 stuff goes, when we resume the sequential nature of the seasonal play, Salty or Skulks and Owski, the one that's going to be casted by Infamous, should be pretty fun to watch. That will be good. As soon as Snoofed versus Elo game is scheduled, that's going to be a ton of fun. I think we're going to have to see some really interesting thinking outside the box from our We Surrender and Handwashers team to sort of get this We Surrender versus Owski syndrome. It's gonna be a pretty valiant David versus Goliath story. Of course, we know that Timo is the other best player in the game, of course, but
Alski. It's been, Alski and Snoofed. Oh my God, those two teams. You saw it. I think they already play each other? Yeah. Infamous got that 2-2 game between Alski and Snoofed. If you didn't see that game, of course, Infamous was working on a few bugs with his cast, but those games were brilliant. Really fun to watch. I thought the analysis from Infamous was spot on. Really excellently done. He's, of course, a really strong player, so you would imagine that he'd be a strong source of insight. So, yeah, a lot of games to be played still, as week 4 and 5 seem to have some simultaneity to them. Really, it is good to see that Katz took a game here with his excellent planning and team positioning on that alien round. Absolutely did the right thing by relying on those subsequent tunnel rushes, and it was a great game. So, my boys, it is that magical moment, that time of the day, when I implore you to be safe, be happy, love you dudes, and go play Gathers. That's right, go Gather. Peace, y'all. I'm out.